Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we'll be taking a look at a British Informatics Olympiad question, and we'll be taking a look at the 2015 question 3. So I'll let you have a quick read of the question. It's quite easy to understand. And now I'll quickly explain the solution on a whiteboard. So this is pretty much the tree of all possible combinations. It's not the prettiest tree, but it does the job. Pretty much at each stage we can choose one of A, B, and C, and obviously we can't choose more than one A since there's only one A which is present, more than two B's since there's only two B's which are present, etc., etc. And this basically maps out all possible combinations of these three letters which we can have. Now, I'll quickly introduce you to one way in which we can calculate quickly the number of combinations of something like A, B, C, C, A, B, B, C, let's say. Okay? So, pretty much, in maths, there's this factorial function, which is very useful. Let's just start with a simpler example. Let's say that we have the number of combinations of A, B, and C, like the number of rearrangements of A, B, and C. If we want to find that out, since there are three letters here, we do 3 factorial. So in case you don't know what factorial means, it's basically 3 times 2 times 1. We'll just write that in brackets. And now, if you have, let's say A, B, C, D, it would be 4 factorial. Since there are 4 letters, so we just do 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is going to be 4. So, now, what if you have repeated characters there? Let's say you have A, B, B, C. So then it wouldn't just be 4 factorial, since out of those 4 factorial arrangements, one of them would be, let's say, B, A, B, C. But then another one would also be B, A, B, C, except these B's are like the other way around. So these are treated identically though, so it wouldn't be 4 factorial. What it would be is 4 factorial divided by 2 factorial, since there are basically 2 repeated characters. So then 2 factorial, 1 out of 2 of those possible arrangements of A, B, B, C, so basically a half of all of these arrangements will be duplicate, so we divide it by 2 factorial. Now, if we were to generalize this particular formula, we will basically have n factorial, where n is the number of letters, and then divided by r1 factorial, r2 factorial, r3 factorial, all the way till rn factorial. Now, this might look like we're just completely overcomplicating it, but let me assure you we're not overcomplicating it. This is pretty much all possible characters. R1 is, let's say, A. Actually, just for clarity, I'll just write maybe RA factorial, or RB factorial, etc., etc. Since we know that all the characters can only be A, B, C, or D. So, pretty much it will be n factorial, where n is the length, n factorial, divided by RA factorial times RB factorial times RC factorial times RD factorial, where RA, B, C, D are the number of times which A, B, C, and D occur inside the string. So this will be our formula for how many arrangements there will be of a certain n-length string. So let's see how we can apply this to our tree over here. So if we want to find out the total number of combinations of A, B, B, C, it will basically be 4 factorial, since there are 4 characters, divided by 2 factorial, which is 12 different combinations. As we can see, there are indeed 12 combinations of this particular string. But now, since we want to print the nth one in order, we need to figure out how many combinations there would be starting with A. So if we consider this, the first character is fixed, it has to be an A. So then our choice basically goes to all the other characters. Since we have A, B, B, C, and A is fixed, so then our choice is basically from B, B, and C. Now the number of rearrangements of this is 3 factorial divided by 2 factorial, which is basically 3. So then we know that there will be 3 different combinations starting with A, which, as we can see from the tree, indeed aligns. Now let's have a look at the same thing, but with B, starting with B. So B is the first one, hence we know that the other characters must be A, B, and C in some order. Hence we have 3 factorial different arrangements of these, which is basically 6, which you could see is correct over here. So now how does this help us? This basically means that we know there are 3 factorial different arrangements of A, B, and C. And then we also know that the number starting with A has to be like 3 factorial divided by 3, since there aren't any duplicates. So then, like a more formal way of expressing the number starting with A is if we just fix A as the first character, and then we imagine the number of combinations with the remaining characters. So A, B, C. We fix A, so A is fixed. So now we only have choice between these 2 characters. So it would be 2 factorial, since 2 factorial is the number of combinations of B and C. So we can apply this recursive algorithm where we fix the first character, and then we have the number of combinations for the remaining characters. Then out of those characters, we determine which one's the first character, we fix that one, then we have the same thing for the remaining characters, and so on and so forth. So now let's apply this algorithm to determining what let's say like the 7th combination of the paintings has to be. So let's just have a look at this over here. So since we're interested in the 7th one, we know that it can't start with A, since the number of combinations of A are going to be BBC, the number of combinations of BBC, which is basically 3 factorial divided by 3, which is 3. So it can't be out of the first 3, hence we can subtract 3 from 7. So our search basically gets narrowed down to only this particular area over here. Maybe I'll do it in a different color just to make it clearer. Our search gets narrowed down to this particular region over here. And we know that it has to be the 4th character within this region which we're looking for. The 4th character within this region. And now our choices are pretty much, we start with B, or we start with C. So now let's explore the number of combinations starting with B. So that would be 3 factorial, which is 6. So since 6 is greater than 4, we know that our search has to be limited to this specific region over here. So now our search gets restricted even more. Now we fix the first character, since we know the first character has to be a B. So then we can fix the first character over here. And then and now we explore the number of combinations which start with a non-B character. So we know that the total number of combinations of B are 6, and we're looking for the 3rd one within these 6 ones. And now we know that it can't start with A, since there are only 2 which start with A. Therefore we're looking for the first one which starts with a B. So that would basically limit our search down even further to B, and then we start with B again. So then we have B, and then we have B again, and we're looking for the first of such arrangements, hence we would have AC. So it would basically give AC. That would be our final answer for the 7th possible arrangement. Now let's have a quick look at the code for how we will execute this particular problem. So we pretty much have this f function. This gives the number of ways in which a certain string can be, like the number of combinations a certain string has. So exactly how I was talking about earlier, it's the number of repeats, so num counts key, so i.e. the number of repeats of that particular character, and then we have to divide that by the clean factorial of the length of the number of letters inside this string. That's how this f function returns the number of combinations. And now this is pretty much just some like general stuff which we do. So this just keeps track. This is actually not really necessary. This was the old code which I had implemented, but we accept the inputs of A, B, C, D, and N. These are the number of times A, B, C, and D occur, as well as the nth character which we would need to output. And now we have this dictionary which pretty much stores the number of times each of the characters is present. And we initialize these variables, length and const, to 0 and 1. Length is basically the length of our string, the length of the number of characters which we are 100% sure are part of the output string. So obviously initially it would be 0, since we're not sure of the placement of any of the characters as of now. And const is also a value which we basically it's the constant which we divide by. So if there aren't any duplicates of a certain character, we would just divide by 1. But then we would divide it by 2, let's say if there were 2 duplicates. So this const is just responsible for that. And now this length just is sort of how many characters there will be inside our maximum output array. So then we pretty much just iterate through all possible characters, except we go backwards, fixing the first character, then the second character, third character, so on. And the way we do this is exactly how I described on the whiteboard. We decide the first character, and then if the count of if the permutations of the remaining characters is greater than the number which we have left, then we know that that particular number is not valid. So then we basically go to the next one, and then we add whatever combinations there were of that particular character to the next one, since we know that everything has to be alphabetic. And then we do the exact same until we get a certain case where I is greater than n. What this means is that the number of combinations is greater than the particular n which we're looking for. So let's say there are 8 possible combinations, starting with B and B, but we're only interested in the 7th one. So we know that our search must be limited to that particular range. So, and then we basically just subtract that from the total. We subtract the total from that particular number, and then what this does is, before we decide whether a character is suitable, we append it to that to the output string. But then, if that particular character is not suitable, then we will basically delete it. But then if the character is suitable, we break. What this means is that this code will never execute for this particular case, which means that character will stay, and then the value I would get incremented, so then we would go to the next character, fix that one, etc, etc. And now, now we pretty much just have the pref array, except this is in the numerical form, 0s and 1s, so 0s, 1s and 2s, like it's not just binary. So then what we do after that is just convert all the numerical characters into their output character, and then just print our message. That's pretty much it for this code. Now let's have a look at some of the sample test cases. Sorry, not sample test cases, the mark scheme. So maybe let's just test this one. This basically gives us this particular string, and now if we go back to the question, we can see that the string is indeed correct. Now let's test it on a different one. There we go. And as you can see, this is pretty much the correct answer once again. So one thing worth mentioning is that a brute force approach would not work here, since as you can see they're testing like up to a trillion long, like up to a trillionth digit, and we can't just generate all possible password combinations and then just pick out the, like, let's say the billionth one, since as I said in previous videos, the number of operations which a program can do in 1 second is of the order 10 to the 6 or 10 to the 7. That is way less than the number which we would require it to do, which would be like of the order 10 to the 10 or 10 to the 11 for a brute force approach. But then our program here would only perform like 10 to the 3 operations, which is well below the number of required operations. So that's pretty much it for this particular video. I really hope you enjoyed watching. Hopefully you learned something new about combinatorics, and hopefully you can use these ideas in future questions. And if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. And I'll see you in another video next time. Thanks for watching, bye.